Hi everyone, my name's Pieta Valentine. I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. So today's session is going to be on dining table placement in a dementia unit. Now, this is actually a really important subject which often as a relative you'd have no clue of. If you've been a nurse or a medical practitioner in previous facilities, chances are you'll know about this, but otherwise it's something you wouldn't really get to know till months of mother being there, likely, chances are. So I'll explain the process. In the dining table, in a dementia unit, in the dining lounge, and all the dining tables in a dementia facility, the setup is pretty specific. So you've got the kitchen, which is really where all the food goes. For example, you've got the fridge, the dishwasher, all the cutlery, the crockery, and then the big servery, hot servery, where all the food is placed with hot water underneath so that then everything can be served out. It's a pretty efficient little spot. Food's not made there, but it's delivered there. Toast and porridge is made there, maybe rice, but other than that, it all comes over from the main kitchen. But it's a busy, loud, noisy place, and a lot goes on. To deliver out food for 30 people, you can imagine, that's 3 times a day is a big deal. And it all has to be sort of all coiffured and looking right and all the rest of it, especially if it's an expensive, paying dementia unit, as where I worked. Okay, so in terms of the dining tables, the dining chairs where your mother's sitting, etc. So that's the kitchenette part I've just explained. Then you've just say if there's 30 people, say 8 tables, about 4 people a table, about 8 or 9 tables, say, with 4 residents at each. So a little square table, and they're pretty crammed in, I have to say, because, space is, valuable, and the lounge takes up a lot of space. The nurse's station takes up a lot of space, and then you've got to have enough room for the residents to move around. They've got walkers, haven't they? 15 of those often, so there has to be space for those, and the wheelchairs, etc., etc. So anyway, space is premium, and that's why the tables are pretty crammed in. Now, in terms of order, the residents that can't eat that well, that need assistance with eating in whatever way, their tables will be nearer the kitchenette where the staff are serving out meals, because they can attend to them more easily when they're nearer to their place of work. The residents who are more capable, independent in their eating, will have their dining table further away, and it's much better there because there's less noise, isn't there? Less clatter, less clanging, less busy. So at least you can eat and digest your food, well. Whereas really, if you're near that busy kitchenette, it's really difficult. It's noisy, especially if your mother is sitting, or whoever is sitting, back to the wall of the kitchenette, so the dining table's, jammed quite close to the kitchenette. Then you've got your chair, and then it's only a metre or 2 away from all the loud serving and often banging of these big, steel trays. They're often very hot. Now, you can drop them sometimes, not meaning to, but it creates a real clang. And they're all putting all the food back into the servery on the big trolleys. That's always noisy. On it goes. So if you're a person sitting with your back to this, with only a metre or 2 away, clanging and banging going on all the time, as you're trying to eat, you can imagine, who would have the appetite? Cortisol goes up. It's like, especially if you can't see what's going on and there's all that noise and sort of rupturing, whatever going on in the background, it's really unpleasant, and it's scary too. If you're not expecting a big loud noise and then all of a sudden in this big crash, you jump, and then all that stress goes up. You can hardly sit and have a relaxed meal with all that going on, can you? It's hopeless. So anyway, relatives often don't realise this, and even if they do realise it, they don't realise that they have the power and authority to say to the charge nurse, look, Mum's getting really stressed, sitting in this position, can we please move her to another place? Right, do that. Now, if your mother needs help with feeding, she can definitely move away from that main table that's right jammed up against the servery. There will be another small table, 3 meters away, which is a help, or even better, another small table, third one, which is, 3 meters back. So at least she has some distance from the noise. That'll be fine. Just say, look, please, if my mother, I can just see she's really stressed with all the noise from the kitchenette, and I know that can't be helped, but if she can be moved away, as far as possible. I know with the eating assistance she needs, it needs to be fairly close to where, the staff are, but any distance away would be great. And the staff will do that. They really will, no trouble. But you do need to ask and request these things. And don't be concerned about repeated requests, because sometimes if the nurse or charge nurse or whoever is busy and they don't write it down, they may forget. Don't think that they're ignoring it. Request again, in the next day or two. Make sure it goes over the line and that your mother gets moved. And if you're aware that your mother gets on, say, well with one of the ladies at the third table that's further away, you can say, look, Mum gets on well with, this particular resident, and is it possible that they sit by each other at meals? And staff can adjust and accommodate to that. And then at least your mother has some, pleasant, positive interaction with her friend at the dining table. And even if it's not like major conversation, just hello, how are you? And just feeling comfortable in that person's company and safe in that person's company is actually a big advantage in a dementia unit. And especially if they're, chatty, they can carry the conversation a bit, and especially if they're alert. So if some aggressive residents, throwing plates or something, which can happen, they can be on the alert for that. All sorts of things are going on. So a friend indeed is a friend in need. Was that it? Or the other way around? A friend in need is a friend indeed. Yeah. So you can facilitate all that, with your mother, for your mother, on behalf of her. So these are just a few tips of dining room placement. If your mother is well away from the kitchenette, sitting happily at one of the further tables, good. If she's not quite getting on with the ladies, again, and you know that one of her other friends is at one of the other tables, it is really good to ask the staff if she can be moved, because to be with her friend, because that's where the most socialisation happens, is at the meal table, definitely. In the lounge, they sort of tend to be further apart, from each other in a big half circle, watching the TV often or activities. But at the dining table, it's close proximity, and they're eating. It's a subject of conversation, isn't it? How are the potatoes today? Well, they're too soggy and you don't like them, or, the gravy's not right, or, this pavlova's excellent, or whatever. I mean, there's lots to talk about when you're having food, lots of variety of food 3 times a day. So that's plenty. I'm sure you've got the gist of all this now. There's plenty more, but we'll discuss all that at another time. So dining tables and dining room seating for your mother, and arranging that as best as you can to work for her in the dementia facility. So thank you for all your likes and support and subscriptions. I really appreciate it. And your comments, great. I'm sort of taking note of those. And so till the next video, thank you.